For this meeting of the Parkside Borough Council, if you could, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do our roll call. Mr. Secretary.
Mayor Roman? Where'd she go?
Here, sorry.
President Guy? Absent. Vice President Costigan?
Here.
Mr. Bull?
Here.
Powers is sick. Mr. Sidlow?
Here.
Ms. Percival?
Here.
Mr. Swigert?
Here.
Chief Murray? Sick. Mr. Wills?
Here.
Ms. Catania?
Here.
Ms. Stillwell?
Here.
Ms. Matagi? Mr. Karunkowitz? Ms. Morris?
Here.
Just a quick note before we start the meeting. President Guy is at a family engagement tonight, so I'll be presiding over the meeting. Please give me some grace and understanding, because I've never done this before. So bear with me as we move through this meeting tonight.
I have a message from her. She's
Okay,
asked me to read.
sure.
I appreciate the opportunity to serve Parkside as council member and council president.
Wait, Mr. Secretary, I just want to stop you. I think maybe that would be better under the president's report.
Okay,
Sorry,
sorry,
I wasn't sure.
you're in charge.
Our acceptance of the CDBG meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Any questions?
I'll make a motion to accept the CDBG meetings.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to the acceptance of the November monthly council meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the council minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the November council meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Mr. Secretary, do you have any correspondence?
We do. I have 3 emails from Teresa Wright about her bed bug problem. With council's permission, I'll just read the last one we received, which seems to be the longest. I still have not heard from anyone. These dirty neighbors are never home to take care of their problem. I have my arms, legs, and hands bit because of the problem that they refuse to take care of the right way. We've spent since 2015 $4,500 on exterminators while they sat back and used alcohol spray. And on top of the $4,500, my mother had to pay an extra $3,000 to see her grandson again. I don't want to hear it's their home, they can live how they want when there is no firewall. I lost my job in 2021 because of them, and I fear that I will lose this job that I have now that does not pay what I was making at my other job that was lost. My aunt paid for the exterminator in 2021 because we don't have the funds for any more exterminators. No one should have to live like this. Something needs to be done. Teresa Wright. And at the end of the last council meeting, I was asked to send a letter to Brookhaven with regards to road salt for the winter. We have their response. Dear Robert, Brookhaven Borough Council President Terry Heller and Public Works Director Hector Vasquez have agreed to again initiate a road salt program with Parkside Borough. This program will provide you with easy access to our road salt. Brookhaven Borough will purchase salt from Parkside Borough to use at our cost. The distribution slips for Parkside salt will be turned over to Parkside for payment to the Brookhaven treasurer. If you'd like to continue this program next year, please send me a letter and I will follow up with the appropriate people. We look forward to working with you again this upcoming winter. Have a great day. Sincerely, John J. Willard, Borough Secretary, Office Manager. And I have let Ryan Cornog know of this. And that's all I have.
Mayor's report?
Crimes reported in November, there were 5. Criminal mischief, there was 1. Theft, there was 3. Harassment, there was 1. Calls for service. Medical emergencies, there were 10. Suspicious persons, there were 5. Building checks, 19. Assist other agencies, 40. Domestics, 5. Accidents, 1. Traffic detail, 29. Motor vehicle stops, 1. Traffic citations, 21. And warnings, 20. That's all I have for that.
Thank you. All right, now moving on to our call to citizens for agenda-related items only. So if you have a public comment you'd like to make about agenda-related items, please move to the podium and just write your name and information down on the sheet. Seeing as there's no public comment, we'll move on to the president's report. So, Mr. Secretary, if you could read Ms. Guy's report.
I appreciate the opportunity to serve Parkside as council member and council president. I look forward to focusing on my career and family. My daughter has a concert tonight, so I'm sorry I'm unable to attend tonight's meeting. I wish all of you happy holidays and a happy new year. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Moving on to our finance report, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I would like to read the treasurer's report for the month of November. All bank accounts have been reconciled through November 30th, 2023, except for Sharon Bank, Escrow, and Green Tree. Those are basically static account. We're including the bank reconciliation and statements for all reconciled funds for council's approval. General fund for the month of November, $45,956 was deposited into TD Bank, and expenses of $4,191.51 were paid. During this period, $30,991.24 of deposits were received into Sharon Bank's general fund, and $106,475.61 of expenses were paid, including payroll of $45,339. Below are the bank balances per bank statements of 11/30/23. General account, Sharon Bank balance $178,806.61. General account TD Bank $219,081.75. General account Pliget $376,979.25. We have other accounts with essentially de minimis amounts ranging between $20,000 and $39,000. I would like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion passed.
Yes, passed.
Perfect. All right. There is a motion on the table to grant a waiver of 2023 tax penalties to Edgemont Avenue LLC for properties situated at 2708, 2800, and 2802 Edgemont Avenue with tax parcels. I'm not going to go into all of that. It's my recommendation that we do not have a second for this motion and do not grant them a waiver, but there is a motion on the table.
Is there a second for the motion?
Can you give us more information on this? We received correspondence from this particular property owner indicating that they took ownership of this property early this year in 2023. And unfortunately, the tax bills had been forwarded to the previous property owner. And therefore, the property owner did not receive the tax bills on a timely basis, and therefore they are asking for a waiver of penalties. However, the law is very clear that the failure to receive a tax bill or a tax bill on a timely basis is not necessarily a sufficient basis for not paying the taxes. So It is clearly at the discretion of Borough Council as to whether it wishes to grant a waiver of the penalties to this particular tax bill.
Do we know how much the penalties are?
I think they run approximately $600, I believe, for all three parcels.
And what would your recommendation be?
I don't have a particular recommendation. Again, this is not necessarily a legal issue, more of a policy issue, whether Borough Council wishes to grant this waiver. I will tell you that the county council did in fact grant a waiver to this particular property owner. So the Delaware County Treasurer's Department has agreed to grant the waiver. But again, their decision to grant the waiver is not binding on Borough Council.
And so that's $600, that's each property or
No.
that's total?
That's collectively, that is correct.
So we have a motion. Is there a second for the waiver?
I'll second it. I think if county council had a reason to waive it, I think that's appropriate for us to vote on it.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, could you do a roll call vote
Sure.
for the waiver of 2023 tax penalty fees for those three properties on Edgemont Avenue?
Mr. Bull?
No?
Powers is absent. Mr. Sidlow?
Yes.
Ms. Percival?
No,
Mr. Ford?
No.
Mr. Costigan?
No.
Ms. Conley is absent.
So the motion fails.
I will so advise the taxpayer.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to make a motion to adopt the 2024 budget that was duly advertised and posted.
second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Roll call vote, Mr. Platt?
Mr. Bull?
Yes.
Mr. Powers? Absent. Mr. Sidlow?
No.
Ms. Percival?
Yes.
Mr. Swiger?
Yes.
Mr. Costigan?
Yes.
Ms. Guy is absent. I have 4 yes, 1 no.
So the motion carries.
I'd like to thank you all for all your attention to getting this budget worked through. There's been definitely some moving pieces. If I stuttered, it was because we actually had to go back after we had some, I guess, poor information from the county. So there has been a couple bumps in the road with getting this budget through. We have new police officers, we have new line item things that are going to improve our community, and I want to thank everybody for their hard work. At this time, I'd like to move on to the open space report. I'm going to report general progress, but there has been bids collected, trees that definitely need to be taken down, and work that definitely needs to be done. They've been dead. The trees have been dead for a year. I've been saying something since April, and it's kind of being stonewalled. So I know there's competitive bids out there. I've only seen 2. So any help with that would be appreciated. I don't want the residents to have to deal with problems in their own open space, and we do have trees that abut neighboring properties. With that, I will report progress and wish everyone a happy holidays, and hope we all get to break bread at some point.
Thank you, Mr. Bull. Before I move on to the junior council report, I just want to thank Ms. Guy, Mr. Sidlow, and Mr. Swigert for their dedicated service to this council and this community for the last 4 years on Borough Council and for many years before that. I know personally it's not easy to put your name in the hat and serve, especially in this community. It's very challenging, to say the least. And so I want to thank them for their service. Anna, whether you agree with her or disagree with her, I think it's clear that she brings a passion to local government that is in my eyes, unmatched. Mr. Sidlow obviously brings a dedication to energy efficiency and, again, that good governance that Ms. Guy brings also. But I think, Scott, that will be your legacy on our council, is pushing us into the 21st century in terms of energy. And, I know your vision has not been fully fulfilled, but you definitely guided us in the right direction, in my view.
Thank you, Michael.
And Perry, obviously dedicated service as well. The one thing I'll remember about you is volunteering at all the events. Not you, your family, and your dedication and commitment to those, and always helping out. And, when I was chair of the rec committee for a year, could always count on you for any help or assistance. And I'll miss you and your family to lean on. So thank you as well. With that out of the way, moving on to junior council, I want to thank Brianna and Daniel for their continued commitment to our community, volunteering at the holiday party as our elves, our mayor's helpers there. Do we have any comments from you guys?
I just want to wish everybody a happy holidays and a happy new year.
Have a happy holidays.
And with that, I'll report general progress for junior council. Moving on to recreation, Ms. Owens.
Thank you. On December 2nd, we had our holiday party. I'm going to sound like I'm bragging, but I'm going to brag. I think that one was the best one so far. You can feel that there was so much love and warmth that was put into it, even some of our volunteers had made some sort of dish for the party. There were different varieties of food. There were prizes for the adults, prizes for the kids. The kids left not just their little goodie bag, but they all ended up winning the door prize. That got a little hectic, but they all got a door prize. The smiles on everybody's face is what it was about. No matter how much stuff we went through, it was well worth it. And one thing I want to say is, in the recreation, there's no drama, no politics. That's all left at the door. December 3rd, we had our tree lighting. Parkside Elementary School came, the chorus came and sang as we lit a new tree. Thank you. And then everybody had the cocoa and the cookies afterwards. It was a very delightful night. I want to thank our volunteers who stayed with the recreation to the end. I know we had a few bumps in the road, but we got through them together. As I look at what we accomplished, I feel we all put our hearts and minds into every part of every event that we had. And you could see it and you could feel it. I'm looking forward to next year and what the recreation has in store for the community. A few changes, but I think the residents will enjoy the changes. The recreation committee, we will accept volunteers, but we will not accept any negativity towards one another or the community as a whole. We're about what we can do to bring Parkside together in harmony. And our next meeting will be January 3rd at 6:30 here in this room. I want to say one more thing, it's not recreation related, but we had a giveaway of 4 bikes. 2 are little kids with training wheels and 2 are 20-inch bikes. One's for a boy, one's for a girl. If anybody wants to get involved in the giveaway, either contact myself or you can contact Bob, who's already informed of it. At the barrel here, and all we need is a name, a phone number, and which bike you want to be put in for the drawing. We're going to draw the winner on the 24th, and the Parkside police officer that's on duty, and I will go around and make sure that the bikes are getting out. That's all I have to say for recreation. And I just, I want to thing on that, not recreation related though. I just want to thank, I just want to tell everybody how proud and honored I am to have the kind and caring police officers that we have here in Parkside. Some of you may know, I do the toy drive. This is the 4th year we're doing it. And, we try to help everybody as much as we can. But this is the first year I went to and asked him about adopting a family. I came across a family, I met a family, I should say, in one time. And they've been through a lot. So, and I'm not going to get into specifics of their situation because it's not for me to say. I said, but I went to the chief and asked Chief Murray about possibly adopting the police to adopt a family. He was more than happy. He sent out the information to all of our officers, and he had a great response. Officer Pat, Mark, and myself went and delivered the gift received from all the officers to the family last night, along with a bike and a dinner. We took a few pictures and we left. I went back when I didn't speak to the officers. I went back and just spoke to the mom, and she was crying. She said she was overwhelmed with gratitude, and she said about how generous our police officers were. I told her that this is the time of year that it's about helping our neighbors and our friends. So if you see any of our officers, please thank them for their endless involvement in our community. I have to say, we do have the best officers in Portsmouth. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I just want to second what the mayor said. I mean, it really is amazing the officers that we have here in Parkside, the full-time officers and the part-time officers. Just truly unmatched. The commitment to the community, the compassion that they have. And, you know, to be candid, I have experienced this firsthand. You know, just it's really remarkable, the officers we have. So really grateful for that. And I've talked with Chief about this pretty much every time we meet, but I think what we're building is really special in Parkside with our police department. So hopefully that continues in the right direction. I do have a question about the tree. Can that be sort of pruned so that it doesn't get overgrown and become impossible to decorate? Because I know it can sort of get out of control. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we could treat it with canvas ash, a roof regulator. We could do a light pruning on it every year, keep it nice and full. But at some point it will.
Yeah.
That's just how trees work.
About 10 years.
I was just gonna say, Michael,
About
that's
10
a
years,
year
Michael.
time from now.
No, but it will grow. I mean, it will grow faster than you think. Chris, I'm just saying, if you just leave it unattended.
I'm gonna take pictures of it every year.
I guess the youth is coming out of me, and I'm thinking, yeah, long term. So moving on to police and public safety, we did unfortunately have an incident recently. We had an armed robbery at the Dunkin' Donuts. Unfortunately, there was a minor injury. You know, we've noted in many meetings how safe Parkside is and how great a job our officers do at keeping it safe. But unfortunately, there are incidents that happen, and this was one of those. And you know, again, we're grateful to our officers for arriving on the scene quickly and making sure that you know, that it was addressed quickly and promptly. But it just goes to show that you have to be careful no matter where you are. And again, thank you to our police officers for what they do. That just goes to show the danger that they put themselves in. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on that. Moving on to the ordinance report, Mr. Sidlow.
Okay, so, we have to adopt ordinance 578, which is to, set the millage rate of 9.9 for 2024. So that is, I make that motion to adopt ordinance 578. Do we have copies of those? It doesn't matter.
We did
No,
not.
I second.
No, there's no copies. They were posted and they're kept out.
That's last week, last month, okay.
So the motion has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And also a motion to approve ordinance 579, which is to establish the trash fee at $420 for 2024.
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I didn't get a license inspection report.
There is, Parker's been sick for the last week and a half.
Okay,
This morning I sat down, trying to go through the permits, but I don't know what his starting point is and what his ending point is. I don't know if it's meeting to meeting or a calendar month when he gives you the count. So I just have to do that. I'll get two counts for the next meeting.
so we do not have that report. So, this is my final meeting, and, I am available if help is needed with the, streetlights and with improving the borough building. And, so you're welcome to contact me if you need help with that. And, I've thought about this comment a long time and what I was going to say, but I've decided I'm just going to say thank you, everyone, and move on to the next stage of my life.
Thank you, Mr. Sidlow. Code compliance report. We have a motion here to proceed with the boarding up of property 59 East Shelton. I guess, Mr. Owen, do you want to talk about that?
Hello, everyone. So recently, the house at 59 East Shelton Road has been getting worse and worse, and we've gotten several complaints about it. I did attempt to reach out to the listed property owner, but I wasn't able to make any contact. I sent a certified letter to 59 East Shelton as the only information that we have on the property owner. The tax records all state that basically he lives there, I guess is how you want to put it, and he doesn't live there. So I sent a certified letter, a regular letter. I got the regular letter back. The property's still that way. I tried doing a Google search. I tried doing different searches on the computer, and I wasn't able to ascertain any kind of information on him. And the residents, it was a Facebook post back in October of 2023, and the feed had 85 different comments. Some of it was on topic, some of it was off topic. But many people stated the house has been that way for many months, even with not having a code enforcement officer. As you know, I took over in October, at the end of October. I tried to reach out to him in November, and I still haven't received any word back. So I think that at this point, for the safety of all the residents in the community and just to kind of get it looking better, it would be best if we had it boarded up. So I would like to present that to council so that we can move forward with that.
Could you explain more about the condition of the property?
There's no windows. It's easily accessible for anybody, any kind of vermin, any kind of vagrant, homeless person. you know, anybody could get in there and do damage, start a fire. There's all kind of things wrong with it. There's a empty pool in the backyard that looks like it's all concrete. That could fill up with water. A little kid could get back there and fall in and drown. It would be in our best interest to get it taken care of.
Seems like strong advice.
Thank you.
Ms. Burnwell?
Could you tell me how much this would cost? Are all the windows open or are they broken?
There's no windows in like just about every window. I don't know how much it would cost. We could probably get the Borough Works guys to go there with some boards and hammer it shut.
The only problem with that is if we create more damage to the property, then the borough is liable. And I would like to know before we proceed with the motion, number one, what company is going to do the boarding up? And I want to make sure they have insurance. How much is this going to cost? Because we also would have to have our solicitor leading the property for the expense and his expenses.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. If we had the solicitor draw up the necessary paperwork, I can research a company to come out and board it up. I would imagine it shouldn't cost all that much money. And it would be a lien on the property, so eventually the borough would get their money back. Or the contractor could be paid at a later date because of the lien.
We've had situations like this, not here in Parkside, but with other municipalities, and depending on how much of a nuisance it is, there is a program that the county has. It's a demolition program. We would have to provide all of the information that you've sent out, any citations that they may have received, and I don't know where you are in this process. We're probably ahead of ourselves in talking about this, but we would do an inspection to verify whether or not it's habitable. And then with that information, put an application into the county through the Office of Housing and Community Development, and probably would be about $25,000 to $30,000 to have the house removed. That's typical of a smaller home. We had a couple in Upland a couple of years ago that was about 24, 25. Everything is taken off the site. Pool, I don't know, would actually qualify, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't have the contractor fill it in. And then the property gets liened in favor of the county, and as well any cost involved with the solicitor, the engineer, or staff time. So there is a process for all of this. I think before you were to go boarding it up, I would suggest that we reach out, try to get into the site to see what kind of condition it really is, the house. Because once you board it up, we don't want to have to take it down. There are companies out there that do that type of work. Johnson's one of them. They have contracts with municipalities. ATU Services is another that some of my municipalities use. So they're out there. They're pretty easily found. I don't know what the general cost is of it though. But we're going to have to make sure that it's cited properly and the notifications are proper.
Has the property owner been cited yet?
I haven't cited him. I don't know what's happened with the previous code enforcement. There's nothing on the file in the drawer with what was done. So, but at this point, if we can't make contact with him, how are we going to cite him?
My recommendation, again, we generally begin with an enforcement notice. You've already done that. Again, if we don't get any action within, a minimum of 15 days at that point, I still recommend we go through the citation route again, we file the citation may not be able to be properly served because the whereabouts of the homeowner may be unascertainable. But nonetheless, I'll suggest, again, we move forward with the citation route. I also recommend simultaneously that we contact ADU Services. We have used them in the past for nuisance abatement services. And I'll suggest we get a quote from ADU Services to board up the property so we have an idea precisely as to the upfront cost to do that work. But I agree that, again, we don't want to let this particular property linger indefinitely. Again, abandoned and vacant properties are a public safety hazard, and it's an issue. So we want to stay on top of it. And again, I'll suggest council be prepared to revisit this issue as soon as next month and perhaps take affirmative action at that time.
What is the process of condemning? Not to drag everybody down,
Not condemned.
Well, we're not good.
but I'm saying that the water can't be shut off, the power's got, it just seems like it is a legitimate nuisance. Like, if it's on that level, is it a 30-day process, 60-day process, 90-day process?
Well, and again, based on, observations of the house, if the house is, uninhabitable, it can be condemned for that purpose, and that obviously the property cannot be habited by, human occupancy. Whether we want to go through a formal condemnation process, that's a whole different process.
Yeah, I think what you're going to be doing, and that's why I suggested that you get the inspection done. Once an inspection is done, you would actually deem the property uninhabitable. That would be done by your building code official. That building code official will then have the right, give him 15 days, 30 days, whatever he feels is appropriate. And at that point, then you start citing them for not doing what is necessary to bring that up. Gives you the ability to take further action later.
Once you condemn a property, you take on the responsibility.
I don't think we're at the level of condemnation here, or the county program. I think we just need to slow the bleeding of this building and try to get it done. Try to get some safety added to it and give some time for things to be worked out. So I would say that. So you said 15 days after a citation?
Yes, absolutely.
So I would say that the citation be issued tomorrow and 15 days.
After the notice of violation was issued, I don't know what date the notice of violation was issued, but after that, 15 days subsequent thereto, issue a citation. And again, the citations and the notices should go to the registered address of the property owner where the tax bills are going. And if the address is the property at 59 East Shelton Road, then that's where we're going to forward the notices. That's where the property owner is expected to receive mail.
Yeah, I sent the letter on November 6th of 2023.
Okay, so we're well beyond 15, we're beyond 30 days, beyond almost 45 days, yes.
So is there another 15-day period that has to wait for the boarding up can happen, or can it happen sooner?
No, I'm going to suggest before we board it up, we're now going to get a quote from ADU Services or some other, so we have an idea precisely as to the cost. So we can move forward with the citation. We're going to get a quote as to the cost of the boarding up. We're going to have perhaps an inspection done by the building code official. And I'll suggest we, again, revisited this issue at the January monthly meeting. And if sufficient progress isn't made at that point, I think the borough's hand may be forced and we may be compelled to take action.
The fire chief just asked about having a safety inspection on the floors and things like that in case a fire does break out, that they don't fall through the floors. So I guess A&U would be able to do that as a construction
I don't think they would do that, no. They wouldn't do the inspection work.
BCO could do that.
Okay.
And our engineer.
So did,
See you there.
so who, put the motion on the table for the agenda?
I think we're gonna defer taking any action with regard to boarding up the property at this time, Mr. Vice President, and revisit this issue at the January monthly meeting.
So moving on to Public Works and Property. Anything?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Thanks, Brenda.
I have not done anything with the property since in this last month, so I don't really have a report. I think
Okay.
the heat is working and everything's going fine, so I don't know.
Okay. Did Mr. Powers leave anything?
Nope.
I don't think there's anything to report.
No emergency management report, Mr. Secretary?
Nope.
Okay. Anything for fire marshal?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on to recycling and MS4, Ms. Percival?
I've got a report.
Okay, I could count on you.
For the month of November, our trash total was 93.86 ton. Recycling was 21 ton, which is up from last month. I'd like to let everybody know there's going to be no recycling December 27th, no recycling January 3rd. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our outgoing council members for your service to the borough the last 4 years, and to take a moment to thank our fire company for hosting our Christmas party. And we all appreciate your service to our borough. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Percival. Communications, Mr. Swigert?
Thank you, Mr. President. For the communications, we, as a committee, we kind of came to a decision to kind of switch some of our communication styles. Rather than going with a quarterly newsletter, we did decide to try to switch it to a blog post. So that way articles and information could be put out in a more timely fashion. Rather than waiting till November to hear about something that happened in September, you can hear about it in September. So you will see on the borough website, new page set up for blog information. There are a couple articles there right now, and that's kind of what we hope to see move forward so that the information gets out in a more timely fashion. Other than that, I can just report general progress.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Swigert. Did the tax collector leave a report?
You did. Good evening. Treasurer has received a total of $1,216,738.18 to date. There was $7,410.86 in revenue deposits from October 22nd, 2023 to December 19th, 2023. Regards, Ed Fisher.
Thank you. Engineers report, Ms. Catania?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. This is a Christmas season, and I would have loved to have given you a wonderful gift. However, we heard yesterday there was a special meeting held by the Commonwealth Finance Authority, and unfortunately, Edgemont Avenue Stormwater Project was not a funded project. So, as I discussed last month, there is another grant, so we put the project into that grant. It was due the 30th of November. It's the local share account grant. I spoke to Representative Kazim's office. She was going to put a letter of support in for the grant application. So I'm hoping that was done. We should hear about that probably beginning of the year is what we're being told. So not great news as far as the PA Small Sewer and Water Grant. I'm thinking I might call DEP to see what the issue is, because again, they'll have another round in I think it's summer. I think it's May, June timeframe. that would be due again, to see if there's a reason it wasn't selected and move on from there. Carol Kazim's office was very receptive when I called about it, so we may have some help there as well. The West Cole Memorial Project is completed. I was expecting that I would have the final invoice today, because unfortunately the contractor was away until the end of last week. And I called him. He thought that he could get it over. I did not see it. We wouldn't have been able to get it on the agenda anyway. That project's completed. I did the completion report for Pico Green Region. Haven't heard back from Estelle from Natural Lands as of yet, just to see if they're accepting that final report. I don't see that they wouldn't. But in the meantime, I also put a Pico Green Region, we completed it and sent the completion report in for the West Cole. I did submit a Pico Green Region for the tree evaluation, removal, and replacement project is what I'm calling it, for lack of, I don't even know what to call it. That's what I've called it. We did the 2022 Beacon project completion report for PennDOT. That was approved. We're working on the community development block grant for 2024. That's due right after the holiday, because we have nothing to do for Christmas. Bob, if you would, I'll need a copy of the meeting minutes. I have the resolution I need for the CDBG here.
You should have,
I have it.
you should have. If not, let me know, I'll resend it.
You did send it as a draft, okay,
Yeah, for review.
okay,
Okay.
got it. Oh, then I do have it,
You do.
you're right. And I just want to wish everyone happy holidays, whatever your holiday is, Merry Christmas. Please be safe, be smart, don't drink and drive. See you next year.
Just back up a little bit, they're not signed. I'll get you a signed copy.
See? Yeah, we can work there. There we go.
All right, thank you.
I have a question. So the grant that you were talking about that we were denied, that fell through, is that the grant that Anna was looking into doing Edgemont Avenue?
It's the stormwater project along Edgemont Avenue, yes.
So do we have any idea what we're doing about Edgemont Avenue?
So as of right now, we put a separate application in for the LSA, which goes through DCED. Again, a state agency, and we'll wait and see where that is. I haven't called Mike Burns yet. He's asked me for an update. I haven't reached out to him as of yet. He's PennDOT. I did speak to him about a month ago on another project, and he advised that the road program, the resurfacing program is delayed. So that's good news for us at this point, that we could get this in prior. I don't have an answer to that at this point. I know that,
And we have $240,000 from ARPA.
That's what I was just gonna say. So what about the COVID money? Are we gonna be using?
My thought is, if we get denied for the LSA, then we've got to do something. We have
Getting
it,
worse.
it is bellied out again. And instead of waiting and being denied and wait and be denied, we need to move on the project.
so I would suggest to you, between now and probably the end of January, you ask for a meeting with Senator Kane's office and with Representative Kazim's office, and see if they can't give us some help beyond that ARPA money.
And Lisa, you mentioned that the LSA grant the announcement would be made after the new year, like the end of
I
January?
don't think after the new year, sometime early
January,
spring,
February?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Ms. Catania? Moving on to the solicitor's report, Mr. Willis.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The December Solicitor's Report is as follows. Number one, delinquent trash fee accounts. My office recently received a payment in the amount of $6,555.24 from the property owner situate at 2907 Bergen Road. This was in full satisfaction of 5 outstanding municipal rubbish and nuisance abatement liens that were filed against this particular property. A check in that amount was forwarded to the borough treasurer, who has confirmed receipt. Number two, the zoning hearing board application for 2801 Edgemont Avenue. Last month, the equitable owner of the Methodist property, or Methodist Church property, Green Jaguar Investments LLC, had filed a zoning hearing board application with the borough seeking to obtain zoning relief in order to utilize the former church property as a multi-family apartment building. That property is zoned R1 residential district, which does not permit multi-family apartment dwellings in the district. I had wrote to the attorney for the applicant advising that the application as submitted was incomplete and deficient pursuant to multiple provisions of the Parkside Borough Code. I subsequently entertained 2 telephone calls from the attorney for the applicant. At present, it is unclear as to whether this applicant intends to pursue the requisite zoning relief. Number 3, part of my job as solicitor for the borough is to advise council and the public when legislation or court rulings occur that affect the operation of local municipal government. This is one of those times. A recent Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court case was decided last month that changed the understanding of how an advertised council agenda may be amended under the Sunshine Act. The Commonwealth Court held that there are only 3 reasons that permit borough council to amend its agenda during a meeting. Number 1, to handle an emergency. Number 2, to conduct business considered de minimis or minor, arising within 24 hours of the meeting and not involving a contract or an expenditure of funds. And number 3, to handle, again, de minimis business brought by a resident or a taxpayer during the meeting that, again, does not require a contract or an expenditure of funds. Now, the Sunshine Act was previously interpreted to constitute a 4th or a catch-all exception, in addition to those listed above. This provision was intended to allow any other amended by a simple motion of council, so long as the reason for the amendment was announced. As a result of this recent court decision, it is important that borough council be as comprehensive as possible when creating the agenda to avoid not being able to act on an item due to its lack of inclusion on the posted agenda. Again, there is no longer a catch-all exception that allows council to amend its agenda during the meeting. 4, 3100 Edgemont Avenue. The borough had received a recent zoning inquiry from a proposed purchaser for the subject property that was formerly used as a car wash business. The property or the buyer is proposing to operate a limousine and a shuttle bus service company with the parking and storage of fleet vehicles associated therewith at the site. The property is situated in the C1 commercial zoning district, and such use is not permitted by right in the particular zoning district. Now, I have advised the prospective purchaser that such use would require relief from the Borough Zoning Hearing Board. The purchaser is also proposing renovations to the exterior of the existing building, including increases as to its height and footprint. I have further advised the prospective purchaser that such changes would require land development approval pursuant to the borough's subdivision and land development ordinance. Finally, I have advised the purchaser to consult with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection as to the environmental suitability for any proposed use at the subject property. 5, right to know law request. The borough recently received a right to know law request regarding a records request for a list of all registered vacant properties in the borough. Again, I have assisted the open records officer in formulating an appropriate legal response in compliance with the right to know law. 6th, reorganization meeting. Borough Council is obligated to conduct a mandatory reorganization meeting on January 2nd, 2024, for the purpose of swearing in newly elected council persons, electing a council president and a vice president, and selecting municipal officials, and taking care of any other additional housekeeping tasks on the agenda. Again, the reorganization meeting must be advertised at least 3 days in advance of the meeting in a newspaper of general circulation. Again, whether it's the District Court Judge Georgia Stone or Mayor Kim Roman, again, may swear in the newly elected council persons. A council meeting agenda, again, must be prepared. That includes the aforementioned items and should be posted on the borough website at least 24 hours in advance and affixed to the front door of the municipal building in order to comply with the Pennsylvania Sunshine Law. And lastly, Mr. Vice President, I note that this evening is the final public meeting for Councilperson Scott Sidlow, Perry Swaggart, and Anna Guy. And I thought it appropriate to offer some parting observations. I begin by stating the obvious. Serving as a local elected public official in today's political environment is not easy. It's hard. And it may even be more challenging here in Parkside Borough.
It doesn't have to be that way, though.
And anyone who serves, irregardless of party affiliation or political persuasion, is deserving of our gratitude and respect. This job is not for everyone. It involves countless hours each and every week, attending meetings and conferences, engaging with constituents in the art of problem solving, participating in contract negotiations and budget sessions, and attending a host of public events too numerous to mention. You sacrifice a great deal of precious time away from family members and loved ones. And with public service, inevitably comes public criticism, whether it be warranted or not. You have to have thick skin to be in this business. No one sitting up at this council table is infallible, including myself, as my dear wife so readily reminds me. Elected public service at the local level is not easy, but it is necessary in a functioning democracy. For Scott, Perry, and Anna, it is noteworthy that within 3 short months of them taking office, the COVID-19 pandemic arrived, a time when the world as we knew it literally shut down for months on end. And yet here in Parkside, council had to find innovative ways to provide critically needed services to our residents without interruption. There was no playbook. There was no reference guide on how municipal government was to operate in a worldwide health pandemic. It required a good dose of critical thinking, innovation, and resourcefulness on the part of council. Scott, Perry, and Anna made important contributions in our efforts in making sure we never missed a beat in providing the kind of high-quality municipal services that Parkside residents have come to expect from their borough. It's been my pleasure to have worked professionally with Scott, Perry, and Anna over these past several years. Again, thanks to each of you for your valuable service on behalf of the good people of Parkside Borough. And with that, I can report general progress.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. Now our second call to citizens for non-agenda related items. And if you could just write your name and information down on the paper.
Sure. My name is Dave Lane, I'm the fire chief of Parkside Fire Company. This is our end of year report for the borough. The fire company made 289 incidents for this year we responded to. 51 building fires, 137 medical calls, all here in the borough, 23 hazardous conditions, 2 service calls, 8 good intent calls, 23 automatic fire alarms, and 45 special incident calls. That could be anything the police called for us or anybody else. We have performed numerous drills and medical training such as CPR, AED, stop the bleed, first on the scene, and many more coming in the year. This is to train all of our members on every call that we go on. Some upcoming training include fire school for new members and medical training for all members, like triage, mass casualty incidents. Everything I stated here is being done by volunteers. People who get up at 3:30 in the morning, go fight a fire for 3 hours, go home to change their clothes and go to work. They didn't ask them for anything. When you need medical help and the ambulance is busy, who is there? The volunteers who gave up their nights to relax and do some medical training just to go and do this. It's that tired guy or girl who worked all day and then responds to an emergency day and night. They're my heroes. And we like to thank the residents who support us every day with a wave or a hello. That means a lot to us. Oh, and I'd also like to thank to the ones who gave us the finger on candy cane night with the kids riding in fire truck. At least he acknowledged us, and we'll take that as we're number one. So all we ask is for the money to keep us going. We have opened our books and sent everything over to Brinker and Simpson. So I ask you, will we be leaving here tonight with a check? And it's a simple vote that you're all sitting here. It's a yes or a no. Let us know, because that helps us keep going day and night to keep our lights on. And one last thing is the current condition of Edgemont Avenue between the 2600 block all the way up to, I guess it would be Roland, where they dug it up for their gas. Is anybody have any idea when that's going to be fixed? Because that is taking a beating on my fire trucks, and it is very, very expensive to fix. So we have 2 trucks right now that the front suspension is not in very good condition, and all we ask is help. So I leave that up to you. If you take a simple vote, yes or no. Thank you. And happy holidays.
Thank you, Chief Laney.
Do we have any update on that bird? Are they finished working on it, or anybody? No?
Yeah, it's not, we don't hand cut.
Yeah,
So I don't
that
know.
was Chester Woodard, right?
I believe it was Pico.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I believe it was Pico. I saw Pico trucks out.
It was me.
Okay. Are there any non-agenda related comments?
Nick Capabianco, 226 East Rollin Road. The chief was just up here. You want to get an answer? Are you going to get a check? Are you going to vote on it?
Nick, and I think I made that pretty clear, under the ruling of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, unless that vote is on that agenda here this evening, the Borough Council by law cannot even entertain that issue.
Okay, all right. New council will do it.
And again, if it's on the agenda for January's meeting, that's something we could consider, we could vote upon. But today, Nick, we can't even consider.
I understand, Jay. I understand.
But also, also too, every council member had an opportunity to put that on the agenda as well. It should be. And there are 7 council members on the council. So.
Yeah. Well, we're going to say that. Well,
Okay, moving on. Any last comments? Okay, moving on to the old business. The dates for 2024 council meetings have been advertised. Mr. Secretary, did you put that on there? Okay. Okay, and then the borough secretary is added as a signer to TD Bank.
We did that last time.
Okay. Any other old business? New business, we have a donation for Brookhaven basketball and sponsor Brookhaven basketball.
That's me.
Okay,
We've been asked to sponsor Brookhaven Basketball League the upcoming year. The sponsorship is $100. I'd like to make a motion to sponsor Brookhaven Basketball League for a cost of $100.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
I'd like to ask the secretary for the January 17th meeting, if you would please put down Parkside Fire Company donation, Parkside Fire Company check
thank you, Shirley.
to be put for new business. And I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday.
And he knew that. You're trying to listen.
Thank you. That's all I have.
okay, any other new business?
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
See you next week.